Hey folks, Joe Bucher here for Chevy Silverado Outdoor Tips. Today's subject is how to really peg when the rut actually happens. And what is the rut? The buck over my shoulder right here was taken, this big Boone and Crockett class buck here was taken in October, in the pre-rut, before the actual breeding period. And during that time, bucks tend to spend more time telling everybody how big and tough they are. You know, they're looking at other bucks. They're seeking out buck behavior. They're seeking out hierarchy, and they're trying to establish their own hierarchy in the herd. Once the does come into estrus and the real peak of the rut occurs, then they're interested in nothing else but breeding and chasing does around. When a doe comes into estrus, just like when a female dog in the neighborhood comes into estrus, it's in the air. Everybody knows it. All these bucks know when does come into heat. They don't have to go visit some scrape to find that out. So where I'm going with this is when scrapes become less effective, more often than not, is when does actually come into heat, because bucks will smell that scent of estrus in the air, and away they go. They don't need a scrape or anything else to let them know that a doe's in heat. They can smell it in the air, and then the full rut is on. So that's my opinion of the rut in general, is that, you know, it builds up over time. You know, in October, late October, it starts to get very intense when these bucks are getting close. You know, the bucks are their testosterone levels get stronger and stronger and more intense, but the does aren't ready yet. They're not receptive yet. And that's why this chasing and this frantic running around and diving in the cover and panting deer, they're running and there's no acceptance. But then all of a sudden, boom, estrus hits the air, there is acceptance, there's breeding. And then these big bucks lock down with a lot of these does, and they hang with them until they breed them. And a lot of these other bucks, the subordinate bucks, are running around trying to find an opportunity, and they do. And that's when you find a lot of these if you're hunting, it's one of the most exciting times to be in the woods, because you see a lot of action, you see a lot of doe, not as much doe movement except chasing, but you see tons of buck trolling, you know, and it's one of the most exciting times to be in the woods. And a lot of that is just, you know, it's just all part of the fall and the rut behavior. Timing, late October pre-rut, early November pre-rut, by around the 5th, 6th, in my neighborhood, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, somewhere in there, that 3-day period, boom, first does come into estrus and everything changes. And one last thing, that's when the biggest bucks all of a sudden appear out of nowhere. Where did that buck come from? Didn't see him all season, didn't even know it existed. You know, when the girls come into heat, the big boys show up.